Hello.
Yeah, hi. Hi, I'm your host for today. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your host for today. My name is Atul, and I would like to introduce James C. Torek, CEO, ELEM, and this conference, we are going to introduce the company, their vision, their mission, and how they are performing their business standards over CSE, Canadian Security Exchange. So, my dear distinguished guests, valuable investors, welcome to this particular special conference for ELEM. And I'm featuring this discussion with the company's CEO, have a prominent entity in CSE market especially. And I'm thrilled and feeling so memorable day to have the gracing gratitude to the CEO. So before we dive into the heart of the matter, I would like to express my heartily gratitude to each of the investors, those are part of this conference, and their presence, they are making their presence for today, and their interest to driving the forces behind the events. And we are honored to have you here. So please kindly allow me to be the force behind ELEM and today's presentation. And with his visionary leadership, Mr. CEO, James, unparalleled dedication, Mr. Torek has played a pivotal role in shaping the success story of his company. Under his guidance, the company achieved remarkable milestones, continues to thrive in the ever-loving and scope of the Canadian Security Exchange. During our session today, we will explore various aspects, its marketing strategy, the achievements of company ELEM, and their exciting opportunities in presence into the markets. To make our discussion more interactive and informative, we would like to encourage you as to participate by following the questions. Your inquiries, kind attention all investors, your inquiries, your questionnaire points, Mr. CEO will elaborate the company's upcoming events, the company's performance, and it will be truly enriching for everyone to be present over here. So without further ado, let's kickstart with this event with the curiosity. And I would like to invite all of you actively engage, learn, share your thoughts as we embark with the enlightening journey, and particularly guided by the CEO, Mr. James. So welcome to our channel, MarketToWatch. So how you are feeling, Mr. James?
Well, I'm excited to see the impact that we can have by spreading our story wider around the planet. I'm not sure where everybody's from, but thank you for making it. Where I'm from, it's 6 in the morning, so yes. I'm always an early riser. This is normal for me, but not necessarily for everybody else. So thank you very much for making it, and I'm excited to tell you our story as well as what's happening as we continue to grow, and hopefully that helps you feel confident in your investment decisions with us.
Yes, absolutely. It's very early morning over there, and particularly like MarketToWatch taking the third conference today, and a lot of investor communities and investor guys, they are live over here. So let's start the questions and like the conference. So the first point for your company ELEM, what the journey of success, how you get started in CSE, and what are the highlight points for the key milestones you achieved so far?
Thank you. Element79 went public on August 3rd, 2021. And in that, we have been on a very busy trajectory where we have acquired over the last 2 years and now divested of roughly 20 properties. So we acquired 20 and we've divested of 17. There are a couple of sales that are still, I guess, in the works. And over the next 2 to 3 months, we anticipate those closing as well, which really focuses our story on a core of properties, which was really ultimately the end game. Our original business model was based on ultimately, hoping the resource value would increase. And if we had a large property portfolio that we purchased, we'll say economically, which we had, and then if the market conditions had played through to our favor, it would have made a lot of sense to, effectively buy low and sell high.
Yes.
Now, again, we have divested for profit several properties, so we feel that we've been very successful in that trajectory. But really, the ultimate goal was to acquire a property where we could generate cash flow, not just cash flow from flipping properties, but ultimately one where we could actually put a mine into production. First and foremost, we've built our team around the skill set of people that know how to, that have operated mines on a global basis through their entire careers and are here to do it again. The Peruvian property that we have as our current flagship, Lucero, was a past producing mine. And as I just said in our corporate update a couple of weeks ago, the best place to find a mine is exactly where there used to be one. Usually mines close for economic concerns because the economic cycle turns out of favor, or something political. In this case, it was the economic cycle. And it's actively in production today. The artisanal miners are working it. So it's really a case of formalizing the process with both the locals, as well as basically bringing in larger scale investment into the mine to get production brought back online. It's a very exciting story for me. And obviously the whole team, we're all laser beam focused on making this happen.
Yeah, absolutely. We have seen you are listed over CSE. So do you target any dual listing program like OTC or TSSP, or apart from like NASDAQ? What is the end result you want to move forward?
The CSE is a great place to start, especially for a junior going through business model shifts.
Yeah.
At the same time, the process of getting listed is somewhat easier or less strenuous than other exchanges. We are currently cross-listed on the Frankfurt Exchange, as well as we are a verified pink in the US on the OTC markets, and we have been conditionally approved for an OTCQB uplisting, which would effectively give us a broader scope in terms of availability of our stock on US markets. So through early 2021, we hope to be able to bring that to the story as well, and obviously greater liquidity through those greater markets.
Yes. So ELEM is the journey began in 2021. Probably you do have the company ticker symbol was named with GAIA in 2021. Probably a different.
I have worked in a variety of positions through my career with other companies, and that is a different company.
Oh,
that's not the topic of today.
Great.
But Element79 is absolutely my full focus and mainstay here.
Yes. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. So in the dynamic landscape of the financial market, what are the unique strategy ELEM employed or occupied to ensure its sustained growth and competitive edge?
I've kind of touched on this already, but the reality is that it's very difficult. I've invested in resource companies for over 20 years.
Okay.
And having been formerly a banker, as well as operated a cash flow focused mezzanine debt fund with partners over about a 15-year window between banking and fund operation, the simple reality of when you look at a business of any form, it needs revenue and it needs profit. The difficulty of being a mining company, the traditional mining model is effectively focused on raise money, go drill some holes, make a discovery, and hopefully if the economic cycle is in your favor and there's a neighboring company that wants to buy you, then typically this is what happens in the mining space, which is a very difficult model for the people operating those mining companies. It's been my experience through all the different CEOs or vice presidents I've met of mining companies, especially in the junior markets. A lot of them have day jobs. Because of that, because there's no cash flow inside of a junior mining company. or they're already, we'll say financially free, and they can afford to wait it out for an income event. Whereas inside Element79, we took the model of, as I've already outlined, initially, how can you make some revenue? Well, you buy and you add some value, then you can sell for profit. Number one, we've already finished that phase of our business model. And ultimately, that was to help acquire a property that has the potential to put back into production. And again, we already have a permitted, socially contracted, friendly, local relationship inside the community where this mine is located. And over the next year, we intend to put that mine back into production. That's where you start generating gross revenue. And then it's just a question of, what's your net back? What are you taking back home? And that's an exciting proposition. I would argue that that's a very different model from a lot of junior miners, where there is actually even a chance of generating revenue within the short term. And we're absolutely, number one, we have the right team. Number two, we have the right assets. And number three, the business plan to make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So how you would like to elaborate on the sectors of industries and primarily focusing with the alignment of current market trends?
Well, being a mining company, I think if anything on this planet is going to go down the path of electrification or, the green energy wave, mining is absolutely required. And then even more so, while Lucero does absolutely have a base metals component to it, having a lot of everything from silver to zinc to lead, molybdenum, etc. Those are absolutely required for a number of manufacturing processes and electrification of the grid. So actually physically bringing the product to market is exactly what Element79's intent is over the next year, to start that production and then ramp up. That actually genuinely helps the we'll say the greater machinations of the market with physical product coming to market, instead of a story where we're just making a discovery and then maybe somewhere in the next 7 to 17 years it might turn into a production story. We're right there. In addition to that, obviously with all the global turmoil happening right now, whether we speak about the war in Ukraine, whether we speak about the obviously what's happening over in Israel, in Gaza these days, in addition to just generally the money printer process of quantitative easing and every subsequent layer of that over the last decades, the inflation factor obviously is causing whether it's central banks or retail investors to run towards acquiring precious metals. So using that as a store of value, which it has always traditionally been. At the end of the day, fiat money, effectively, inflation will hit that the way the governments have been treating it. The value of, we'll say, fiat currency loses its value, while we're looking at precious metals gaining in value in the very short term.
Yeah.
So by producing those, we're bringing that to market. We're actually providing a physical flow of that product into the marketplace.
So apart from retail investors and small investors, will you also focus on institutional investors and large-scale angel investors? What is your upcoming target?
To address your question directly, I learned very early in my career the 3 rules of raising money are: take the money, take all the money, and take all the money right now. So the short answer is, part of my job in terms of being chief cook and bottle washer, in terms of running many of the different roles inside the company. Obviously, I have a strong slant on working with our IR teams and helping the company ensure that it has capital on hand to explore, to not just feed itself, but explore and bring the mine into production. So yes, we do work with all levels. We have more or less up until now been relatively single sourced through in terms of the source of financing that we have used to develop our portfolio to date. Absolutely, we're looking at a variety of different sources to finance the company's behaviors and activities over the next couple of years. And that does involve all classes that you've just mentioned, from institutional to angel to private strategic investors to retail. It involves all of them, and they will all play an important part in the story for sure.
Yes. So CSE market, mining is on the top of the model. and lot of competitors. You do have huge competitors over CSE market. So particularly ELEM, how you plan to maintain your competitive advantage in the upcoming future? Because a lot of competition, because mining is the booming platform, and CSE too much competition. So how you forecast and plan to be a role model for your competitors and to take the advantage in future?
Well, it comes down to simple business tenets of, you pull the belt tight, especially during slow times of the year, or if, like in our case, there's a rainy season down in Peru that typically hits potentially as early as December and could go as late as early March. And during that time, obviously trying to focus on not just project work, but we'll say, trimming the fat of a lot of other expenses if possible. That's just being a prudent business operator. We've run on we'll call it a fractional use or skeleton crew type team through the previous phases of development of the company, and we will be doing the same. So that's just being, a prudent business manager. In addition to that, unfortunately, with market expansions and contractions, not everybody makes it. So there's a lot of companies, as you've seen over the last at least decade, where potentially a junior mining company might have turned itself into maybe a cannabis company, or maybe they evolve the business model, or they sell, the entire management team leaves as it evolves from one industry to the next. And ironically, if I'm not mistaken, some of those we'll say cannabis psilocybin or AI and tech or blockchain deals are now turning back to mining. So there's kind of a natural cycle of how a shell gets used, or a publicly listed company gets reformatted over the years.
Absolutely. It's a evolving regulatory environment. So how does ELEM, your company, navigate the challenges and stay compliant with the necessary regulations, ensuring stability, confidence within the investors?
There's two answers to that. One is domestically here in Canada, where we have an amazing everything from legal to paralegal team that support our decisions and help keep us in line. In terms of anything, whether it's data for a press release or a special shareholder meeting, yes, timing for AGMs, etc. Our paralegal team is honestly second to none, and I'm ever grateful for their help. It is not I guess any success story is a success story of a village, and it takes many people to make it all work. It's not a one-person story in any stretch. Having said that, the CSE is very helpful in terms of its own communications to investors as well as publicly traded companies. They have great resources for us, and obviously email cascades keep us in the loop, let alone conferences. Typically, if I'm whether here in Calgary with the Take Stock Alberta conferences, or the other conferences that the CSE puts on or supports around the country, you can always bump into the team from the CSE to have them help you. The second question with that, or the second answer, I should say, relates to Peru. And obviously, a different country, the mining industry in every country is handled similar, but obviously there's nuances. And we have some great consultants that we work with down there, both for project work as well as we continue to go through the phases of everything building up to production, because there are certain permits and processes that are required. And one of the main key factors on our team is that our VP Exploration, Kim Kirkland, he actually worked down there for 21 years. So he already knows the lay of the land, okay, in the mining space, and has made some amazing global level contacts down there that can help us through that process as well. So relying on your team and casting the net wide, but also bringing in consultants, or the net wide to bring the right consultants to the table when needed, I would say, is how we address the regulatory compliance issues.
Do you have hired any professional guy as a market maker for your company? Any professional market maker for your company, ELEM?
We have had different market makers work with us in the past, basically, trading consultants and whatnot. But we are looking at something new coming into the new year. Just like everything, it should be a case of trial and error, and see who works best, as well as I mentioned, during slower times in the market, sometimes you have to reshape your team to keep expenses down. So all of those are factors that play into it.
So what are the upcoming projects, partnership and initiatives that investors can look forward to be in your upcoming future, and how your developments will be contributed to the company's overall vision and mission?
Like I've mentioned, the team continues to evolve, and whether that's directly with people inside the company or different consulting groups around us, we continue to look for different opportunities. So while we have a laser beam focus on our portfolio of really, we're focused on Lucero primarily, but we have kept 2 properties in Nevada, which themselves were part of a standalone entity, and they have some great development on them historically, as well as potential for going forward to develop out resources. And those 2 are in Nevada. So we've talked about the portfolio. It's very interesting, and I'm sure anybody else in the mining space can say this, that when you set up a shop and you hang a shingle on the wall saying, "Hi, I'm the new neighbor," a lot of other neighbors come out to come meet you and come want to meet learn your story and also probably sell you something or joint venture. And this has happened both in Nevada as well as in Peru. So there's always an opportunity for mergers and acquisitions, and especially at this stage of the cycle, there's a lot of smaller scale projects that are looking for capital, that are looking for management teams to help move them forward. We continue to look at those on a weekly basis. One just hit my desk yesterday. So it's a constant cycle in that regard. And we will always keep our eyes out there. But again, we've already been through a lot of bulk up, and now we've trimmed down to focus. And really, again, the biggest things you're going to see on the horizon inside Element79 are we're working with potential off-takers for selling the product domestically in Peru. And we're working with other institutional or strategic investors to effectively bring the capitalization in to the company to make sure we have the funds on hand to develop out not just through the next phase of drilling, which we intend to do in the middle of next year after the rainy season, and then move on into bulk sampling and production. So again, these are initiatives already underway, and we hope to be sharing that newsreel with our investors here in the very near term.
Do you have any IR strategy or market awareness program that you are currently moving forward to increase your growth, hike in volume, price, and market cap?
It's been somewhat difficult in the grand scheme of things, dealing with some interesting market factors, as well as such a large float. So what we've actually recently done to attract investors, as well as kind of tighten up some of the market behavior that was beyond our grasp or control, was to consolidate the stock. And in terms of that, building up to that point, we had kind of muted our market experiences, but definitely as we ramp up through the next year, you'll see, we'll say, greater involvement from other parties in terms of market awareness. And especially as we open up the doors down into the US with the OTC QB uplisting, you'll see some more initiatives down there to help bring in that larger market space, for sure.
Thank you, Mr. James. Thanks for your spending your valuable time. We feel comfortable and we feel pleasureful with as you are integral part of this conference. We look forward to have upcoming meetings and conferences with you for our future events. And dear investors, kindly subscribe to our channel, MarketToWatch, and hit the bell icon to receive notification for upcoming conferences, videos. Thanks again, Mr. James.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time. I appreciate this opportunity.
Yes, thanks.